guess what we're doing? Well, you see the rod holders over there and here. But what we're doing, we're flaring. See, we're flaring the end here. I have a die made at the machine shop. This is stainless steel die. And then I get this vise here, block it with a piece of 3/16 stainless down here. And then I flare up here by tightening this down. It's not easy. We have to flare. This little foot here keeps sliding the wrong way, but then you take this hammer, and on the side it doesn't slide, you hammer it, and that'll flare it more on that side. It'll even it out more flat, and then you can tighten a couple more turns and then hammer and back and forth until you get the flare. So I'm going to take this off because we're flared as much as we need to be, and I'll show you the end result. Paradise out. Let me get this. Oh, I have vice grip on this side. By the way, I have the handle on this side. I broke one of these vices, a cheap one. It cracked right here when I tried to do the first one. But then I slide this piece of pipe on here for the leverage to be able to crank enough. So anyway, we'll be back, and I'll show you how the flare looked. Right, Paradise. Folks, now you can see the flare that we made here. See? We got a nice flare here. So when you slide the rods in and out, this edge doesn't scrape them. Now, I'm going to buff this edge because it's a little tiny bit rough, but I'm going to buff all this edge. I'll take my buffing wheel and buff this all out smooth. And I got to buff down here where the welds are to make it all shiny, like chromium, but it's stainless. It's not chrome. Chrome wouldn't last out here, but stainless is. So anyway, that's how we did it. Had the vise. We tried a little block of wood under it here, but we just crushed that wood. We just crushed it, so that didn't work. So then I remembered that I had some little, I'm going to make washers from this. I'm going to drill a hole in here. This is the washer for the back plate for the cross beams. It goes on the back, and then the bolt comes from this side, and the nut is on this side, and we'll tighten it up against the wood so it distributes that load all over this permanent beam. So anyway, we got to do all these. Got 5 of them to do. One of them I might not can. Well, we'll see. This one here, we didn't stick this out. Thank you. Okay. This one here is touching here. So even though we can put it in here, we're only going to be able to flare on this side. So we'll try it, and we'll see how that works and looks, and I think it'll work. But the other ones are the same as that first one I did exactly the same. So we can just clamp on here, screw it down, and the flare's done. The die that I had made was at a machine shop that made that I had make my clutch adapter too. So this is basically the die here. I put some grease on here too, just to help it slide, lessen the friction as it went in. But this is the die. This is, again, this is stainless steel. I don't know where this came from. Not mine. But anyway, big old heavy thing will knock you out and hit this on your, drop this on your head. It'll hurt. What we could do is machine a little hole here to put this in here, and it would lock it in and make it a little easier. But that little hammer tap thing, where when it gets off on one side, you just tap on the opposite side and it slides right back. So it's not a big deal. So anyway, that's what we're up to. Putting flares. See, this is pre-flare, and rod hole holder here. So we will be back with more flaring up a storm. Paradise out. The other thing we're doing is, you saw earlier, well, it's gonna, I don't know if we're gonna mix the video, but at any rate, we're also working on the propeller shaft support tube that you'll see before or after this video. Paradise. All right, everybody. Out. Looks like we got the flares done. As you can see, we got the flare put on that one there nicely. We have the flare in this one here nicely. We don't have the flare put on here, and I didn't think about this, but you see where this is welded to here, I can't put that die in here. I can put a rod in here and push and bend around the boot, and as you see, I've started to make a little bit of a flare there, so I will work that another date and time. But we do have a tiny flare there that I will make bigger by sticking a rod. I got a 5/8 inch rod I did use this right here. This one here. This is kind of a heavy duty Schedule 40 pipe instead of tube. Tube is thin. This is thin wall tube. This is thick wall pipe, from what the stainless steel boys told me. So anyway, this one's got a really nice flare there, and this front one up here, we got him all nicely flared too. Let's see the flare. Voila. So everything is flared, and like I said, I got to buff this because you see that burn. If you buff it, it buffs that oxidation off, and then it's all shiny and nice. So whenever I buff that, and all whatever welds I can buff, I'll buff this edge too, and that'll make a smoother, not so rough a sharp edge. Not really that sharp, but still, nonetheless, it's rough. So anyway, we got them flared. So we will be back with more of my paradise. And to tell you, yeah, baby, we can flare the rod holders. Paradise out.